I don't know why this is always the thing I think about waiting for this to load up.
I'm not sure either, but I don't mind, although it says Mariposas on the title.
Oh, you cannot click. Well, stupid. Sorry. That ruins that thumbnail.
But yeah, we are warming up.
On an already warm day. Well, it's not really warm, it's humid warm.
Yeah.
It's the blanket of discomfort. Not that this will stop Toby from using a blanket tonight. Tagging. Greetings.
I don't have the tag yet for Facebook.
You have to refresh your whole thing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm still seeing a lot of earlier posts.
I tend to do nga yung medyo hard refresh, yung control F5. Just to make sure. It's also like instinct from all the app testing and microsite testing, and then like, please clear cache.
Still nothing. I'll go straight to you.
Simpler, I guess.
Yeah, it's there. How ood? How telepathic alien with tentacles on the mouth.
So we have Kenny. Hello, Kenny.
And Carlo. Hey, Carlo. Yes, we're talking about that topic. And I guess we can start in 1-2 minutes.
Yeah, thereabouts. I mean, if we can make a nice even 9-10, I guess, depending. So this is the combination of 2 requests, 1/2 of which came from Kenny.
And then Andre's with us on Facebook. Hello. Please reshare the link, like it, and subscribe if you haven't.
Like the video.
Trying to get more people here.
Share the video. So muggy. I don't know what to call it. It's just it's so uncomfortable, this weather.
I wonder if the birthday boy will show up.
Oh, well, he tends to show up and not say anything, apparently.
Yeah, he mentioned.
Stealth viewers. Which, you know, is totally legit. I mean, like, as long as you're enjoying, it's fine. Hey, Karen. We're starting very shortly. Just giving time for people to dial in. To join the bridge. Hi, who just joined? Our realities of this video conferencing life. Bear with, bear with, bear with. Bear with.
So while waiting for the show to start, Sources of positive energy today include Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds are go, to be specific.
Yes,
So
Thunderbirds are go.
we're wrapping up the adventure and watching the third and final series. And these series are pretty long. They're like 20 something episodes each.
Mhm.
So I was confused with the next episode is Endgame. I'm like, huh, but it's only episode 11. So it's like I'm so confused. But let's see.
And then,
It's a shame it's no longer airing, but I'm happy that we can watch it.
and then other than that, there's Warren Story.
Yeah, so we just got started on Warren Story. That is super like that's comfort watching.
It's fun watching.
It's very idle documentary watching.
And it's nice documentary. It's not heavy topics. In as much as we do love our crime,
I'm so sorry. We watch so much true crime.
it's fun watching it and hearing the stories because you find yourself thinking of your own stories.
Yeah, they're all. It's basically it's like each person will have an article of clothing and will just tell us the significance of that clothing.
The story behind it.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. It's like, and it's not super thematic. It's not trying to prove a point.
Some are deeper stories. Others
Some are
are
super
very
shallow.
very funny, shallow stories, and it's nice. It's a nice.
Karen just finished Runaways. You are braver than we are. We have yet to. I think we only watched
First few episodes.
the first. No, I think we watched the first season.
Yeah. We watched
Surprisingly, we finished the first
the first
season.
season. We finished the
We'll
first
get
season.
around to it. I know. There's
With
a
the
way to watch
Gibbs.
it. Yeah. It's like that, and what else? It's like that and Cloak and Dagger. My
Yeah.
daggers are physical.
Okay, let's start.
Yay!
This is Toby.
And this is
And
Rocky.
if it's your first time here, welcome to Baduy Pride, a little space on the internet where we talk about anything we want.
It's completely unscripted and not entirely accurate, but at least it's honest. Join us as we talk about everything and anything random live.
And if it's not your first time here, thank you so much for joining us again. Tonight's episode is a controversial one as we talk about cakes, cupcakes, and muffins and try to define each one.
Well, I don't think that's the main goal of the episode, but then
But I feel that's where the controversy
I
is gonna be.
conceded. Okay, to be fair, this is two separate topics. This was someone who
Hey,
asked
Jed.
us to talk about cupcakes and muffins,
Mhm.
and someone had asked us to talk about cakes.
Mhm.
Kenny asked us to talk about cupcakes and muffins. I don't know why. Pico asked to talk about cakes, and
Mhm.
he barely watched the show because
Mhm.
he's so busy.
Mhm.
So we figured, hey, let's put all the desserts together into one episode so that my pain is limited because whatever.
And we are virtually greeting happy birthday to everyone celebrating their birthday as they watch this episode. Whether
If you
it's
are watching and
whether
not
it's
saying anything.
right now or sometime in the future,
Oh
and
my
you happen
gosh,
to watch it on
that
your
is
birthday.
true. Like if I were to rewatch this episode in August, it might be my birthday.
So happy birthday to you, viewer,
Happy birthday.
for watching this episode
Wow.
on your birthday. And now we pause as we cue title screen moment with Mitch song. And we're back. So tonight's I really can't wait for the day. There is actually a song that goes in there. But yeah, so tonight we're
So
talking
Kenny
about
says he just wants to know the difference in muffins and cakes. And I like that you decided to suggest it as a topic instead of Googling it. To be fair, and I will like minor preamble, Toby asks these sorts of questions all the time.
Mhm.
We'll be like doing our different things on our computers. He'll look up to me.
So did the fruit or the color orange come first?
Yes, this has come up,
Mhm.
and things like that. So I'm used to rolling with these. I think the most interesting time for your food questions was like when we game with Aina.
Mm-mm.
And Aina, given her culinary background, would have legit answers for things. And like, oh wow, we learned something. So I think so we'll tackle this very quickly. So let's get the definitions out of the way and first figure out what is a cupcake versus a muffin. Because my definition is I like cupcakes more than muffins. That's about it. I feel like this is a pie and tart thing all over again.
So for cakes and cupcakes, it's
Okay.
pretty much the size.
Okay.
Cakes normally come in large pans, round or square. They typically take half an hour or more to bake fully. Cupcakes are pretty much cakes prepared in smaller tins or several cups. So a batch of cupcakes takes around 15 minutes. 15 minutes to bake rather than the full half an hour to an hour.
Okay.
But then when we go to muffins,
So wait, we only defined it based on cooking time,
based on serving size
serving size, and cooking time.
for cakes and cupcakes.
Okay, okay. Not ingredients.
Yes. Now, when it comes to muffins, many say that the main difference is the frosting.
Mm.
Wherein,
Or if you watch Nailed It, the buttercream.
if you have a cake, you have a cupcake, normally a cupcake has a lot of
Frosting on
stuff
top.
on top and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Whereas a muffin would be plain or just has some ingredients like
Blueberries inside.
berries or nuts and the like.
Okay.
But then some say, because the ingredients are the same, both have flour, eggs, butter, sugar, and milk.
Okay.
Muffins, however, the mixing process is shorter than for cupcakes.
What? Okay, and what does
Because
that do?
for cupcakes, having a longer mixing of the batter, there's a more uniform spread of the air bubbles,
Okay.
and you have a more chiffon, spongy consistency.
Okay.
Whereas
okay.
with muffins, it's more lumpy, so it becomes closer to bread.
That is true. Because like muffins are like very dense.
Very, very dense, crumbly, breaking apart. Whereas cakes
Yeah.
tend to be spongy, you kind of tear it apart. And that's also why muffins are seen as the healthier option
Why?
because they're bread, so you can have it for breakfast.
Oh.
Whereas cupcakes, of course, adding the frosting and all that, but since it's also more airy and stuff, it's seen more as a sponge than as a bread. Then it's not really considered for breakfast.
So unrelated officially because it's not in the topic. But then, so where do brownies come in?
See, you're not something like me. Yeah, that's how I am. I'm so proud of Rocky now thinking like me. But yeah, so that's the thing. Even bakers have different opinions on the topic, supposedly.
Okay. At least for the cupcake muffin debate.
But yeah, muffins are made with all-purpose flour. Cupcakes tend to be flour, eggs, and cake flour.
And then Kenny says, "Okay, that's it. The episode's over. We've achieved our goal."
Cakes tend to use butter, whereas muffins use vegetable oil.
Okay.
And then muffins, you mix everything together, lightly stir them in a dense batter. Cupcakes, you whisk first the dry stuff together, then you add the wet, and there is that
A difference in process.
because that also affects the I forgot what it was called, but when the stuff bind and
I feel like we've discussed it and nailed it, and we just have forgotten.
yeah, and it's that gluten thing.
If you watch Nailed It, this is related but really tangential. Is that if
Mhm.
you watch Nailed It, it's fascinating how who's the main host? Michelle Byers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, or Nicole Byers.
Nicole.
How over the course of the seasons, you can tell that she has learned so many things
She's
from
picked up
drops.
stuff and she brings it up now in her
Yeah, and
dialogue.
she knows already, like, oh, that's gonna burn, and oh no, that the buttercream's not gonna be great, and it's like, oh no, we're gonna eat raw cake again.
Now, the other thing is that muffins tend to have savory muffins, whereas cupcakes usually are only dessert, but some do use candied meats, like candied bacon.
I don't
and
think
the like.
I've ever had a savory muffin. What is an example of a savory muffin? I'm looking. Savory cheese muffins.
Mm.
And there's a whole recipe on taste.com.au for 36 savory muffins. Zucchini, carrot, and honey.
Mm-mm.
Pumpkin, spinach, and bacon.
Yeah, bacon
3
is always
cheese.
the thing.
Pizza muffin. Ham and okay. But I have never encountered these things. I think the most
And
common...
you have those muffins that have salmon on top. Cream cheese and salmon.
I don't think I've had that. I think my most common encounter with a muffin has probably been at a coffee shop. Coffee shop fare, the likes of Starbucks or Coffee Bean, and there's no other food that you like, or like you were at a meeting and they ordered things and you end up with the muffin. And I always feel terrible when I end up with the muffin because they're huge, they're dry, and they're just not fun. It's like you need the coffee to break it down into your throat.
Now, some ask if you remove the frosting from a cupcake.
Is it a muffin?
The answer is no, because still the material is different.
And the spongy texture.
Yeah. And then how you eat them also matters. So cupcakes, being miniature cakes, are eaten differently compared to muffins. Muffins can be eaten hot or cold depending on how you like them.
Okay.
Cupcakes are often eaten cold. And then muffins,
Because of the frosting.
because of the harder, crusty top, you can
Yeah.
like tear off that top and eat that slowly, and then the other one.
I've done that. I've like ripped open muffins and then pick at the middles because that's the softer
And
parts.
some use two different batter for that.
What? Okay.
So there's a different batter for
So
the
it
lower part,
creates a crust.
and then they put
thing.
batter in the upper part.
Ah.
So
I am not a muffin fan. Do people like muffins? What are your favorite muffins? I mean, the ones I normally encounter are like a banana walnut or like a blueberry. But I don't know. I'm not very keen on muffins. Karen, hence the term muffin top. Well, yes, the shape of the muffin and how it overhangs on the wax paper is literally where muffin tops are like, or what are anything overhanging jeans. Yeah.
So the quick way to think of it is cupcakes are small cakes, while muffins are small quick breads.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. But I like banana bread more than I like a banana muffin. I don't know. I'm gonna keep
But
going
if you
back
think
for
about it, it's also, since banana bread's bigger, you have more of it cooked a certain way. But then if it's in those cupcake containers for muffins, it kind of evens out faster. So it cooks more thoroughly faster.
Okay, and on the whole, I will admit, which is weird, that I've never particularly had a super sweet tooth. Like I appreciate desserts, but then before Toby, I didn't typically look for desserts. Or like I was more into chocolate as a convenient sweet bite than cupcakes and muffins and the like. Because they always feel like they're so complicated to order, to store, because if not they dry up in the fridge and stuff, and then cakes are like solely reserved for birthdays. Like a birthday must have a cake, and you go from there.
Was not a fan of cupcakes. I still am not that much a fan of cupcakes, only because more, at least in my experience, most cupcakes end up with just fondant, or their
That's true. Mga decorative cupcakes.
or their
There's a lot of
frosting is super sweet and not what's the word? It's not syrupy. Sort of like compare the frosting of a cake, whereas the muffin tends to be almost like the sugar flour, the cupcake. That's almost like the sugar flour type of icing.
Also, by right, aren't they supposed to be like similar frosting?
They're supposed to be the same, but I guess because of the cake, it's more spreadable. It's more the buttercream.
Or maybe it's
style.
like because a lot of cupcakes try to be very decorative, and
or try to last longer.
Yeah, then there's definitely a strong reliance on like on fondant or like
the more decorative type of frosting, and that's why I don't like it, because it always feels like.
So Jed says he likes, I guess, the blueberry muffin at French Baker. Karen likes chocolate chip muffins, and she likes Sonia's red velvet cupcakes.
Okay, red velvet. Let's talk about red velvet.
I don't understand red velvet. I feel like it's just red sugar. And to be fair, I got to taste red velvet before I went full keto, and then I'm always like, I didn't quite get it. It's like, because red's not a flavor, velvet's not a flavor. So,
so here we go.
Okay.
Red velvet. It's more than just food coloring.
Okay, thank you.
So what makes it special? Red velvet is made with cocoa powder, vinegar, and buttermilk.
So
the chemical reactions between those give it the deep maroon color, and then that's enhanced with food coloring.
Interesting. I'm still not a super in terms of a favorite flavor, I naturally gravitate towards chocolate. Whether it's for cakes, for muffins. Ooh, we're super whiting out. Look at that. Burning out. Because we're in high contrast with black shirts. Okay. Let me try to reduce this a bit. Okay. So I definitely like chocolate as cakes. And then but yeah, I didn't quite get red velvet. Or another thing I feel like more often than not becomes hit or miss is any dessert that claims to be salted caramel or salted chocolate things, because it's like I don't know. They can never get the balance right. Then I either just taste the caramel or there's way too much salt,
Mhm.
and then I don't understand. Um, Jed says I lean towards fruity flavors. For what? For cakes, for muffins? Do elaborate. Ah, Dane says no love for fruitcakes. No.
We have a friend who's super a fan of fruitcake.
Yes.
So every
Every
Christmas
holiday
season,
season where fruitcakes
she's
come into
like,
our
"Give
orbit,
him to
give all
me,"
fruitcakes to her.
and we're more than happy to send it her way.
Yeah.
Um,
I never got into fruitcakes.
I never got into fruitcake because there's some parts of the fruitcake I like, but there's a certain
It is.
candied fruit that's really strong that I really don't like.
It's the halo halo dilemma. It's like
Mm.
you like some parts of it, but not all of it. Um,
Yeah, there's a certain candied fruit and fruitcake that's the equivalent of biting the black pepper.
but it's sugar.
Yeah, so it's a nah.
So it's funny. I was saying earlier that I wasn't like a super sweet tooth person. So I didn't really look for dessert or for pastries outside of meetings at coffee shops
Mhm.
and birthdays where we have cake. But then because of keto and then my lack of options, then I ended up exploring all these keto desserts. And so
Mhm.
now like I regularly have cupcakes, which is funny. And then I get it's like an ensaymada cupcake, a chocolate
Mhm.
obsession cupcake, and a green matcha cupcake. And for another episode, I guess we can save it. I love how the internet keeps reminding me matcha is not necessarily green tea.
Mhm.
It's a different flavor on its own.
Yeah, matcha and green tea are two different flavors.
So I have those, like I literally have them on a daily. I have one muffin, sorry, one cupcake on a daily basis, and it's so funny because before keto, I would never consider these things, but because the net carbs are acceptable, and then I have a better, more full dessert feeling after eating, then I'm happier with it versus like a very very tiny 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 piece of chocolate.
Hmm.
Karen says she learned to like fruitcake as she aged, and fruitcake ages too. No, but it because it's the alcohol helps it like
Hmm.
stay longer, right? But I've never like
Or
super.
maybe there are just better fruitcake now out
That's
there.
okay. To be fair, my grandmother used to make fruitcake, and she's a good baker. But again, I share that problem
Yeah.
of the fruit.
It also could be because like now there was a time also I hated gingerbread.
Okay.
But then eventually I started to realize, okay, this is not so bad. Ginger and bread is pretty interesting. So I guess it could be an age thing. It could be the one you happen to taste.
So I guess I have to wait for a keto fruitcake to maybe consider it, but it's probably gonna taste terrible and use way too much artificial sugar.
Now, speaking of cakes and birthdays, because there is a birthday guy watching the show, happy birthday
We now
to
have
you!
proof that he's watching, so it's no longer a generic greetings to whoever's birthday it is on the day that you are watching this video.
So, as far as this website says, the origin of birthdays and cakes
Ooh.
started in Germany. So, it was in Germany in the Middle Ages. The Germans would celebrate children's birthdays with cake, calling the celebration Kinderfest. Cakes were originally a coarse bread-like product that much later became a sweeter version called uh, Ger- Geburtstagorten.
Because Geburtstag is birthday. So
Okay.
Geburtstagstogen is just birthday cake.
So it was later by the 17th century that cakes became more elaborate
Then
with
of course as
icing,
Tinderfest, that's
with
different. I swipe
la-
left on that.
with layers, with decorations. And the decorations they used to use were flowers.
Oh, is that the origin of sugar flowers?
Probably.
Oh, good job, Germany.
Because flowers were edible as well.
Okay, that's true. The
So
flowers, there are certain flowers that are edible, and there are still flowers used as decorative garnishes on food.
eventually, the history of putting candles on cakes, on the other hand, was an ancient Grecian practice.
But that's older than the
Because
German thing.
Greeks would make round cakes to honor Artemis, the goddess of the moon, and the lit candles on the cake represented the glow of the moon.
Oh, how nice.
So I guess this was candles and cakes was the Grecian practice, but birthday cakes was a German practice.
Yes, yes, and they
Um,
came together.
and
Bring you
then scholars
together.
believe that the tradition in Germany where candles were supposed to be placed in the cake to represent the light of life, but of course there's no final there. And then it's Western culture that later brings in lit candles and the birthday song, with a number of candles representing the age. Many believe a silent wish is to be made while blowing out the candles in one breath, and you cannot tell the wish, or else it will not come true.
It's so annoying though. Like a lot of people get, and then like as you grow up, you blow out the cake, you blow out the candles on the cake, and then the first thing people are like, "What did you wish for?" It's like you're not supposed to tell. It's like that's like the rule. So why do you keep asking? But it's funny.
But if you talk about the history of cakes,
Oh my
it goes
God.
back to the ancient times. There are
We released a
records
monster, ladies and gentlemen.
supposedly of ancient Egyptians creating baking stuff, baking goods and the like.
Okay.
And the English word cake dates back to the 13th century kaka, an old Norse word. Isn't kaka poop? Never mind.
That's more throw up.
Yeah. So an old Norse word medieval bakers used to do focus on fruit cakes and gingerbread because those would last for months.
It's the
So
it's the spice
it
element.
it was a consideration to make them last longer and not a celebration. But yeah, that's what I have here.
Have you looked up the origin of cupcakes while you're there?
No, let's try that.
How does everyone feel about cake pops? I feel like cake pops are just a way to sell us crap cakes. Because it's like you make a cake that may have not turned out well, you smush it into a ball, and then you wrap it in
Yeah.
like a frosting,
But
and then
since
you
you
salvage
but
it.
since you wrap it, you can't tell it's from different cakes. You can't.
Yeah, it's a bad batch cake. And we've seen this on Nailed It so many times when they have cake pop challenges, and then it's really like, oh, they're just massacring that cake though, that cake batter after, and like, oh gosh.
So supposedly the website claims the idea for tiny cakes was elaborated on in American Cookery, a 1796
Ooh,
cookbook
don't you love cookbooks
by
that
Amelia
like,
Simmons.
are ancient?
The word cupcake, however, did not come about until 1828 by the celebrated author and cooking expert Eliza Leslie in the published cookbook Receipts.
Oh my god, she literally made a book. She has receipts. Her book is receipts.
And that's where the first cupcake recipe was published.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Most of the time, cupcake was simply a name for measurement, much like a pound cake. A
That's
cup
true. That's
and a
true.
pound.
A Sara Lee pound cake is a pound. It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's oh my god. Pound cakes are awesome.
And then commercially bought cupcakes were first created and introduced by Hostess, which on 1919 celebrated it as a single portion dessert or a snack cake.
Oh, and then I satisfied my own curiosity. So brownies, the fundamental difference between brownies and cakes is the level of sugar, butter, and flour, and then the lack of leavening agents. Because brownies don't rise. That's why they're quite dense,
So brownies are like flatbread,
but sweet. I
not
guess.
compared to normal bread, which is like cakes. Because bread rises.
Oh no, Toby analogies.
So
This is like
so what's
Downton.
puto?
Downton Abbey is to Bridgerton,
Yeah, so what's
as
puto?
as Homeland is to Quantico, and our new comparison, Suburbia is to Quadropolis, as Wingspan is to Mariposas. Puto is made of rice. I think it's the
It's a
totally different world.
thing.
Yeah.
And then croissants.
Oh my god.
What would be the cake version of croissants?
Crab cakes?
Would that be um what's this? The Sans Rival type of desserts?
That's it, like a crab
Because
cake.
it's like the layered stuff. Okay.
Okay. So what's going on with this food for the gods cake? What's food for the gods?
Well, so food for the gods I liked. I never understood if it was a cake. I always thought it was its own snack. but it has nuts, it has
They look
moist and
like
chewy
brownies.
walnuts and dates. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like brownies.
So they're closer to brownies. Yeah, you're
Are
right.
they're the brownie equivalent of fruitcake?
Maybe.
All these comparisons.
Maybe.
The blank of the blank. The blank to blank. We have this whole universe of potential syllogistic relationships. Ah,
Because then you have stuff like,
ah.
panderegla and pandecoco. So are they spread out cupcakes?
They're just more pastries. I don't know.
Or are they sandwiches?
Why are they
Because
sandwiches?
they're bread with filling.
What are donuts? Things with filling? It's Rehan. Hello. This is what happens when we let Toby just like let his brain wander.
Okay,
And
so
ask
going
these
to our
questions.
personal stuff.
Okay.
Cakes. So I was a sucker for the chocolate cakes of Goldilocks. There was a very rich, moist, plain chocolate cake.
Shame on you. No, because we were a red ribbon family.
When Red Ribbon came into the picture, because Red Ribbon was a later introduction, right? At first it was just Goldilocks.
Now I have to check.
Because I only remember Red Ribbon coming in by the time there was like Wendy's but from before it was like Goldilocks and nothing else.
Okay. Goldilocks started in 1966, to be
Mhm.
fair. Um, and then Red Ribbon in 1979.
Hmm.
But by that virtue, you should have had general access to both. But it is maybe a South thing.
Yeah, but I think it was only in the 2000s when Red Ribbon was acquired by Jollibee that it was much more easy to find Red
I've
Ribbon
always
branches.
had Red Ribbon, but then again, I'm a northern person. Our lives are divided by
The wall.
the wall of SLEX.
Okay, so it was the Goldilocks for the chocolate cake. Because it was always that moist chocolate cake. And then eventually Red Ribbon does push it over.
Okay,
But by the time Red Ribbon pushed over Goldilocks, Conti's already existed. And I kind of gave up on cakes
because of
because
Mango
of
Bravo.
Mango Bravo
Okay.
and pies.
In contrast, us naman kasi, Lola's chocolate cake
Hmm.
was the chocolate cake.
Mm.
It is the cake you wanted for your birthday. It
Mm.
was the bomb because it was super good, and then you could lick the fudge. It wasn't just frosting; it was fudge.
Mm-mm.
She would put freaking fudge in that thing. So that chocolate cake was the best. And then we liked Red Ribbon chocolate cake because it was the closest to Lola's chocolate cake.
But I
Because it had
like
that moist.
but I like the chocolate roll more than the chocolate
I don't
cake.
understand you and these rolls.
Because the roll has frosting in between and then it's rolled.
A proper chocolate cake also has frosting layers inside.
Rolls are fun.
What? Karen's like, Brazo de Marcoses is a weird cake. What? Mercedes.
Yeah, Brazo de Mercedes is the egg whites and custard. I don't even know if it counts as a cake.
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's a very Spanish.
It seems more like
dessert.
a custard snack.
They say Brazo de Mercedes is a type of jelly roll dessert.
Mm-mm. Because it's all the egg yolks in the center and then all the egg whites as the roll. So it's basically you're having a tray of eggs as a dessert and it's super yummy.
Oh, Black Swan asks, is Red Ribbon the same as Red Velvet? No, I'm so sorry. Red Ribbon is a bake shop franchise here.
Yes.
Red Velvet is a lie. No. What's it really fudge and frosting? That's a good question.
I think it's the oil content.
Maybe. Well, people say that it's a fudge frosting. Composition between fudge and frosting. People are checking. Blah 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 blah. Crystallization of sugars, water, and fat content and ratio. Because fudge requires heat. Frosting is more just blending and adding air. Yeah, Grandma, we would
you'd blend it until you get the peaks, and that gives you the frosting.
Yeah, but
Whereas
then
fudge, you needed to
you
cook
have
it.
to heat it in a pan.
And you had to be careful not to burn the chocolate, because if you burn the
Then it's
chocolate,
like super bitter.
and it separates
Yeah,
the
yeah,
oils and the.
So like I could, let's just, when grandma wouldn't have the motivation to make a full
Mm.
cake, we could get her to make frosting
Mm.
and just frosting. And mom knows the recipe, and that maintains in the family this sacred fudge recipe.
Mm.
And so it's so funny.
So Dane shares love Brazo de Mercedes and melts in. Yes, I love that also. It's like how if sinigang is cooked really well, the fat also just melts in your mouth. Yeah, Brazo has that nice quality.
Okay, it's like, is Brazo de Mercedes a sweet omelette? Because the middle is eggs.
I would think so.
This is a very Toby acceptable comparison.
Actually, is Brazo de Mercedes what's that? That elk? That egg milk tea. Remember that?
this animal
remember,
trotting in.
remember that Japanese place, that milk tea that had an egg, that egg something. It looked like an egg that they put in the milk tea.
I don't know. I
You don't
don't drink
remember.
milk tea. You're the one who explores these things and regrets them immediately. Toby's like weird experiment worlds include pirated copies of food, and then like things that look sad on the shelf.
So if Brasso is a jelly custard snack, then is Cathedral Window the non-egg version?
It's just gelatin, Toby. It's just Jello. It's Jello in milk, right? Is that technically what Cathedral Window
Yes,
is?
it's milk and milk and gelatin.
Where is this topic going?
Vanilla.
We're just
flavor.
talking about dessert, guys. I see. This is what I told you. We should just call this a dessert episode.
So focusing on cakes. So we have Red Ribbon. We've had Goldilocks. In terms of cakes, I love how there was a time in the 90s where cakes were all about the decor. And they were super trying to do all the shows. The Transformer cake, the Spider-Man cake, the He-Man cake. And then some would even go as far as my actual He-Man toy for the He-Man
I've
cake.
had literally my own toys on my cakes.
And it was that sort of, you buy the cake for the kid and they have a toy as well. You just have to wash it.
And then you'd end up with like these giant cake boxes where the
Yes.
half is like a window
Yes.
because it's just protecting the decorations.
Yes, with the wax paper, translucent window covering.
And then
try
to be
keep
fair,
it
I
safe.
feel like in this area, Goldilocks really
Yes.
upped their game in the decorated cake space.
because Goldilocks had pretty cakes, Red Ribbon had yummy cakes.
Yes. And then that was a big dilemma. It's like, so as a kid, naturally I wanted to have one of these big fancy decorated cakes, especially like you hate the kid who has his birthday celebration at school and brings the cake to school. It's amazing. But at the same time, I love grandma's cakes. So then like there were birthday. I know my 8th birthday, it was literally like we put my Donatello pencil sharpener on the cake and things like that. And then they made like a cardboard cityscape for the turtles, but Donatello was my only turtle, so that was it.
And then there was always the race to get the earlier slices of the cake, because that meant you can grab the corners.
Yeah,
And then if you get the cakes later, you only have the frosting on top, because the rest is just the sponge.
I long gave up on like aiming for the corners, and I'll just take whatever slice comes my way. I just accept.
Now,
But I would at least like a side.
there
not
was
a
the
corner.
point in time that the cake shop started to get creative. Other than just allowing you to have the name added, they were allowing people to come up with all these different things. So there were cakes that had the printable cakes.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah, like you
It's
could
the
get
sugar paper.
You could send a photo.
You give the
Yeah.
JPEG. They print that out in sugar paper. Then they put that as a design on the cake. You had the personalized cakes wherein they came with a decor kit, and you can be the one to jazz it up.
Like the Easter cookies we did.
Mhm.
That was a fun little activity. I couldn't eat the cookies.
But I think
that was
for
fun.
me, the holy grail of
the
cakes
Holy Grail cake.
was when I discovered ice cream. Oh my
I think
God,
I've only had an ice cream cake like once in my life.
And I know, and it's so annoying because if you get an ice cream cake, they don't buy you ice cream anymore because they have ice cream na in the cake.
I'm sorry. So
But the
your
real,
requirement is to have both cake and ice
of
cream every
course,
time.
but of course, the real reason that they can't have both is because it won't fit in the freezer.
Yeah, yeah. Because the cake, a cake, cake-sized amount of ice cream takes up a lot more freezer space.
But they're different. You should have a difference between ice cream and ice cream cakes. Because ice cream cakes were more the ice cream that had a mix of jelly. So they were that firmer, gelatinous ice cream feeling.
Okay.
Compared to just ice cream, which was, just the creamy ice cream. So in many ways, ice cream cakes were closer to, it wasn't gelato. The jelly ice cream. Remember the jelly tang ice cream? The Mitch, you know this. These are those Korean ice creams.
Okay. Kenny says he never celebrated his birthday at school. Hey, neither did I. And my birthday was right smack in the middle
I
of the year.
couldn't because my birthday's April.
Okay.
No school there.
Jed is also not a fan of fondant sculpture cakes. I mean, they're pretty. You just don't eat the fondant.
I feel bad if you don't eat the fondant.
That's true, though.
I mean,
but fondant is not yummy.
Yeah, they're not
It's like,
yummy. They're not really meant to be eaten.
Yeah.
I think they're only really made fondant just in case someone does eat it, then it's not
It is
poisonous.
technically edible.
Yeah.
It's just not delicious.
Because we remember when I got you that Dune-inspired sandworm cake.
we were
which
left
was
with the worm.
Beautifully fondant and marshmallows.
Yeah, with multi.
And Malteser powder for the sand.
No, not multi-syrup. It was something else. Anyway, yeah.
Right. It was a Malteser.
It was something else that started with an M.
But it was a malt candy as well.
Yeah.
I just can't remember what it was called.
But towards the end, we were left
because
with
at first we were eating it
worm.
and we were fine. But then eventually it was like, oh my god, there's so much sugar. And
but the worm wasn't just fondant. It was marshmallow. Yeah. So it was a good mix.
But that was a beautiful
when
cake.
people who sculpt entirely from fondant and like, ooh. And we see that all the time on cake decoration shows, and like that's a lot of fondant. And oh man. Or when they don't roll the fondant thin, and you can see how thick it is when they drape it over the cake and the shows, like, oh my god.
I always found cakes with moving or electronic decor.
I've never had one of those. But yeah, I know what you mean. But we
cakes
see
that
those.
light up, or cakes that spin around, or even the cakes when you cut it open and then candy spills out or stuff spill out.
Which we've seen on shows.
Yeah, I've always found those questionable because that means they gave me less cake.
So Karen has never tried an ice cream cake. We shall have to rectify this eventually.
We will have to rectify
Thankfully, we now live in an age where Dairy Queen is like the easiest supplier of ice cream cakes around, I guess. Mitch cites her best cake was the pandemic cake she got for her birthday. That was cool. Black Swan says favorite cake is chocolate ganache. Oh, those things are rich.
Yeah, those are rich.
Super rich. Sugar Rush. Oh, Sugar Rush is another Sugar Rush if you want to see well done creations.
Yeah.
And then you celebrate the Schadenfreude together. Then you watch Nailed It. Okay. Andrew's like money cakes are weird. What is a money cake?
I'll double check because I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Now we're googling money cake. Okay, we just have a bunch of pictures of people that make cakes that look like money. Is that it? Is that a money cake?
There are the money cakes that have money inside.
Oh, that sounds dangerous. Okay.
I guess it's the same concept as the favors.
Andre's like, natawa ako when people assume that they order the money cake, may laman na pera agad. Oh, so it's like a cake that you can put money in it?
There's the plastic sheets where you can put stuff inside. Some do the wedding favors that way.
Oh.
When you get the slice, there's a fortune. Others naman they put actual money. I'm never a fan of these traditions with money. I know it's very ingrained in Filipino culture, like weddings, you have to pin the money.
Yeah, when they're dancing and people are pinning money on you, that's very strange.
New Year, pipila to give the money. I always hate these because they feel very money centric.
Well, they literally are.
But I understand it's also fun. It's just that it just sets a precedent on how you should view these things.
So other than Mango Bravo, what is your favorite cake? Is Mango Bravo cake?
Officially, no.
It's a
It's closer to a pie if you think about it. So it's layers of. So it's close enough to an ice cream cake. It's cashew
it
meringue
is a frozen
wafers
cake.
with
But it's still technically
cream.
a cake.
They call everything a cake now.
Okay. All right.
Everything's a marketing term.
It's just to help people understand what the hell they are getting.
I mean, next thing you know, they'll be calling donut cakes and stuff like that.
Oh, you want donut cakes? Get keto donuts.
Wow.
Those are cake-shaped donuts.
Mhm.
That's a lie.
Okay. What was I gonna say? I lost it.
I was asking what your favorite cake is.
Yeah.
Other than Mango Bravo.
The one I lamented us losing because of the pandemic. Oh my gosh!
Wow, you love it so much you can't remember it.
Because I can't remember the name.
Yeah, yeah.
They had the shop specifically in between Jamba Juice and the Clothes Star.
Slice.
Yes, Slice.
Which cake at Slice did you
They
like?
had the cloud cake,
What is a cloud cake?
which was this dome of chocolate, but then it had this top layer of cream, and then it had this chocolate breakable layer that you just break to see everything inside. And it was mostly dark chocolate, which is why I liked it.
Mm. The last one was like donut cakes. When you live in the sad world of keto, and you get someone tries to sell you a keto donut,
Mhm.
it is not a fried pastry. It really feels like it's cake shaped like a donut.
And there are some donuts in like places like Krispy Kreme and stuff, which are the thicker. They're not like the airy donuts, which are the deep fried ones. So I feel those are more cakes than donuts, but they just so because they need that to hold all the chocolate and stuff they put on it.
Yeah. Or you just unrelated. I know it's not a cupcake, a muffin, or a cake. But then there's a lot of stupid Krispy Kreme like, hey, it's a Kit Kat donut. And what does that mean? There's a Kit Kat sticking out of it. That is not inspired. You do that on Sugar Rush, they'll kill you. No.
And then what was this cake that used to have this crumbly yellow honeycomb thing in the middle of certain
Oh yeah, I
slices?
can't remember. It was
No,
a
that
red.
was good.
It was a red ribbon thing,
That was a
or
good one.
was it the caramia thing? I can't remember.
But it had those honeycomb layers in between the chiffon
So
layers.
it's like
and the buttercream.
super crunchy thing.
Yeah, that was
Karen,
very nice.
so it's the devil's food cake, a chocolate kiss. Oh, I love that thing. But that cake made me dizzy because of the marshmallow frosting outside.
Mhm.
That's how they got the marshmallow peaks. It's very heavy. It's a very heavy cake, but it's a very good cake. I will admit. I love chocolate kiss. Um, yeah. So now now I fall back to Keto Filipino Bake Shop for like all my cake needs.
Mhm.
I like their dessert mix. My favorite being their chocolate obsession.
Now, for those who are not familiar with keto cakes, there are two ways they do it. One is they go balls out expensive and they use almond flour and all these sweeteners. So it still kind of feels like the normal thing. But you're realizing, oh, a cupcake, how much is it? 400. What? But that's how it is.
To
Compared
be
to a normal
fair,
cake, that would be
400 is a
400.
tray of six.
Yeah. Um, but that's the almond flour variety. Because there's the other one which uses coconut flour.
My arch nemesis.
And it makes everything trying to taste like cakes, but feeling more like cornbread.
Or feeling like it's kakanin. It's like, why is there desiccated coconut in my thing? You know, so it's not desiccated coconut, but you know what I mean. Like the coconut is over there.
Black.
Swana says another favorite cake. It's called the Princess Cake. It's light and airy, but not like an angel's food cake, and has a light cream filling covered in fondant. That sounds interesting.
Mm.
Keto cakes are more expensive because like for a small tin, like which is supposedly the macros are measured out for 6, although I cut them into 4 because I'm lazy. It's 700 pesos for the cake. So hence like my desserting is very limited. So I buy the 400 peso tray which is three different kinds of cupcakes. So it's two ensaymada, two matcha, and two chocolate obsession.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's like my. Then I cycle desserts throughout the week, so I don't have a different. I have a different flavor every day. Karen's like, uso ngayon pandemic ang minimalist cake. What do you mean? Like what minimalist cake?
I'm not sure about the minimalist cake. I know yung naging uso for a while was the microwave cake in a cup thing.
Oh yeah, those
Mhm.
cake. Yeah. The mug cakes. Yeah.
And parang the quickest way to do a mug cake is you get a scoop of ice cream and you get some old bread and then you mix it in a mug and microwave it.
Oh.
Because that has all the sugars and yeast and flour you need for a cake.
Is this like you and your ice cream where the easiest is to mash up bananas and freeze them?
Yeah, because that one it's all custard. When frozen, it becomes a custardy cream.
I've learned so much about desserts in the 11 plus years that Toby and I have been together. You know,
And then
it's
if you want to make your
fascinating.
own sherbet, freeze either oranges or and once it's frozen, you can chop it with a knife really carefully. But then when you eat it,
Or grapes.
yeah, grapes work. Apples don't work. But oranges are also a good emergency. You need to
No.
clot cuts in the middle of the night. Just don't worry about shocking your partner
That is
too
so
much.
hard to explain this on a video, you know. It's like, how is this a tip? Like keep a frozen orange as a first aid
Yeah, but the
thing.
best lesson there is never try to do the dishes if you come home drunk, and the dishes include knives.
Okay, so plain artsy cake, no keme much sa decor, but then inside many layers. So
There is a 17-layer cake that was popularized by, wait, where is it? I had it here earlier. Workshop Bespoke Bakery by Le Petit Soufflé. It's a 17-layer caramel chocolate cake.
Oh my god. How why?
I guess that they just made really thin cakes and layered it because they didn't want to do a crepe cake.
So it's practically a crepe cake.
Crepe cakes I liked.
And I feel bad in the sense that I only got to try a few of them before I went full
Yes,
keto.
and that was because I learned about them through Mars,
Yes,
who
who
bought
loves
them
crepe.
for a birthday. But they're nice because for me they're pancakes as a cake. So it's like ice cream cake.
Once
You have
again, it's a
pancake
comparison. Crepes.
cake. Pancake ice cream. Now that is a goal.
What?
To make ice cream in thin pancake layers.
Then I feel like it's almost like the fried ice cream we get at the supermarket.
Right. We need the machine.
No, we do not need the blast.
Must
Machine
find that
thing.
machine in Lazada. Um,
Marie Antoinette. Le Petit Soufflé is apparently the name of it.
yeah.
But it seems to be not a crepe cake. But I feel like at 17
It's
layers,
really cake layers. I can see here. It's really cake layers.
it's practically a crepe cake.
Let's risk it. Let's look at their Facebook page.
And that's one. Yes, we've been together too long, so we're
Uh,
approaching a dozen
Yep,
years.
it's here. 17 layers. They now have the 17-layer chocolate cake, 17-layer strawberry cake. It's 300 a slice. minimum.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm better off with my keto cupcakes. I should learn to make my own. So of all the pastries, have you tried making any of them?
So I tried to do a cake before, and from scratch. That went terrible. I made bread.
Okay,
Then I tried doing cakes with the mixes,
okay,
and
those are easier.
and I was still doing it terribly. I think I was just getting the temperature wrong and all that. So it was a lot of the hot wet mess that it didn't set properly. I think I only really did well better with the breads, banana bread. And
Yeah,
I haven't tried diving back into making a cake.
and it's so funny because now we have a full oven.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's only me now who's gonna eat them, so I don't feel that excited to create.
I just watch you eat your cake.
Yeah, I think since we can't share cakes anymore, I'll be happy with just trying to make pancake ice cream.
Or we're not, we have
Our
that
soft serve ice cream machine.
no,
Yes.
no. We're gonna-
Yes.
uh,
That can be my indulgence. I'll probably have it in the shower
why?
because we don't have space in the kitchen.
You think we have space in the bathroom? Oh my god. Okay. Okay. All right. So
Oh, remember those cakes that look like that marble layer? It's that liquid marble layer. They did that also in Nailed It, wherein they mix the thing and then they pour it on the cake so it has that glazed marble
oh no,
appearance.
I mean like we've seen on the show. I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever experienced it myself.
I
Oh
think the closest we experienced that was in a restaurant.
yeah. Um,
Was it with your brother who ordered that?
I can't remember.
Ah, those are nice. Yes.
They're Jello, but then like it fascinated me how in Singapore,
Yeah, you have those Jello artistic looking cakes.
yeah, and I must show people.
They're either flowers or fish, right?
Yes, it's super like look at that. So sorry, and then like oh okay, go away layouts. But yeah, so it's this intricate like what the hell is this cake thing?
And it's all Jello, but they like insert with that sharp thing to inject the layers of color and flavor and Jello.
Yeah, but it's really just a lot of Jello. So it's fascinating.
So it's their version of cathedral window.
Yes, but a lot more difficult to make apparently.
A lot more skillful versions of cathedral window.
I wonder if it'll show up in my
So
photo
would you
research
say
results.
cathedral window is just low poly
What?
pixelated cakes? Wow, look at that.
Let me share this. Uh, but yeah, this is the cake. This is the cake that that I got to see in person. Like, oh my god, it's a little bear. It was for Mason.
Hmm.
It was a cake for Mason, and then like it's all these flowers. It's so much work. It's so much work.
Kenny was asking, what do we think about lava cakes, lava cupcakes? I think they're fine as long as they're done well. Because I've seen really, they tried, but it collapsed. But the trick with lava cakes is you want it to still be hot and melting and gooey, but the cake has not overcooked. So that's what makes it hard to do that.
Well, Karen is asking what cathedral window is, and for people not in this country, also I will share. But essentially, it's gelatin, ladies and gentlemen.
So it's a gelatin with a vanilla base, milky, silky, creamy.
And then yeah, there's all these gelatin cubes.
But everything else inside of it is still gelatin as well.
yeah, so it's just a lot of Jello, and it's so funny that it's called the cathedral window cake.
Like I said, anything that they can call cake is cake. Mamaya may lechon cake pa yan or something.
My sister loves this too. So it's sort of like fruit salad without the fruit, because then it's just gelatin. Yeah.
So going back to
So lava cakes.
Lava
I mean, like
cakes.
it was cute, but then I feel like half the time, like the few times I've had lava cake things, then it's always like you're supposed to crack it open and then see if it'll pour out. And I've gotten a lot of duds. They're like, oh, your ganache didn't quite melt through.
So lava cakes,
or it hardened again.
lava cakes is the chocolate version of Spanish bread.
Why?
You know when you pop it open, there's like sugar and butter inside.
But it doesn't flow out of the Spanish bread. I think this analogy is weak. It's more like a jelly donut.
Or a dumpling.
Why a dumpling?
The one with soup. Because it's prepared the same way. The thing is frozen, and then you cook it, but you cook it just enough that this melts. Shalong bao cakes. That's what it is.
Shalom bao, I guess, is the
The dumpling that has soup inside.
no. Shalom bao is the lava cake of the dumpling world.
Yes.
That's Toby's point.
That makes
Okay.
total sense.
Is cathedral window cake? No, it's gelatin.
Officially, no.
It's
See,
just gelatin.
but
There's
again,
no baking involved.
the as far as marketing is concerned,
Because Goldilocks sells cakes, then it is a cake.
things are always cakes in two ways. One is material, hence cake pops, and the second is the way it's served. So if it's served as a giant thing, they'll call it a cake.
Hmm.
Which is why I wouldn't be surprised if some artisanal shop out there has now started calling sapin cake because it's a thicker sapin, even if it's still a kakanin.
With like a frosting on it.
Yeah, then they'll probably call it a sapin cake.
Yeah.
And that is why there are sushi cakes.
Yes.
Because
true.
it's rice, it's raw fish, but then it's arranged in that way, so it's now
It's
like
the cake shape.
Yes.
We live in a weird world where something has to be something else.
Marketing is interesting, which is why I guess in like 50 years,
What a specific
there
number.
are a lot of things
In
that
50 years, we're emerging from COVID in the Philippines. No, I'm kidding.
no, but a lot of things
Or am I?
will be like so different from what we originally knew them to be.
Okay.
By then, maybe cakes are anything that's triangular and flaky, for all we know, because they've taken over the the Jamaican patty market.
What? I was wondering where you were going with flaky. Deconstructed pulveron, as Karen points out. Yes, this it's such a like. Oh, there you go. I love these Steam notifications that tell us our friends are playing board games.
And it's not that different from how a lot of drinks are now being called milk tea drinks, even if some of them are just tea drinks.
And of course, Mitch's like, idea, deconstructed cakes. Deconstructed cakes are not edible. I feel like if you reduce them to their base components, it's probably not going to be great.
And I don't know if there will ever be a cookie dough equivalent to cake dough.
Oh, that's true.
Because cookie dough is deconstructed cookies, but it is prepared in a certain way that it is no longer salmonella scary because of the eggs.
And he asks, is souffle a cake? It's an egg dish.
So souffle is a maarteng omelette.
Let's complete this analogy. How do you want to wrap up this egg description?
So cakes are eggs
What?
because as a cake can be a cupcake, a full cake, an ice cream cake, and the like. An egg can be a souffle, a custard, an icing. Egg whites are icing. Yes. You do realize what this means. Chicken.
Okay. What now?
Because chicken lay eggs.
And then,
So wheat give birth to bread and cakes. I'm just
and that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's about it.
pancakes.
Oh, see, Black Swan asked the important question, which I think I already know the answer for Toby, which is, do you usually eat cake alongside ice cream or by itself?
I prefer cake separate from ice cream,
Okay,
but I like bread with ice cream
bread.
because I don't know how to call it, but the makinis surface of bread,
The crust?
I guess we could call it crust, I guess, because it's all around, right? It's that shiny smooth surface of bread. That nicely acts as a container for the ice cream when you
Okay,
put the spongy part inside. Whereas cakes, it's spongy all over, so it just turns mushy.
that's fair. That's fair. There pancakes. Karen's been laughing. I'm glad that Toby continued to entertain you. This is my life. I just live with this. This. It starts with questions and then it leads to Toby conclusions.
Then egg pie.
Oh my god.
Is egg pie a custard or a pie? Or is it a cake in disguise?
Neither it's a tart. We established this in the other episode. Egg pies are tarts, okay? Because of the crust. Oh my god. If we're being technical about it.
Right.
Pancakes with ice cream. Okay. So I mean me, I'm a cake purist. Okay. Let me take a few step back. not to sound crazy, but I am very big on each food shining on its own. So I like ice cream on its own.
But you're not like
I
Flip,
like cake
who
on its
doesn't
own.
mix stuff.
Yes.
You still mix stuff.
I still mix.
Flip would like finish the
This is
ulam
how
and then
I
finish
pretend to be normal in like everyday life. It's like I let my food touch each other. That's fine. That therefore I'm not clinically crazy. So oh, now we're looking at shortcake.
So shortcakes are sweet cakes or biscuits in an American sense. It's crumbly bread that's been leavened with baking powder or baking soda. In the UK, shortcake is a biscuit similar to shortbread. They're dense and crunchier and dry.
So they're not cakes. Shortcakes are not cakes because they tend to be biscuits.
Yeah.
They're closer to cookies.
They're layered cookies. So they're closer to ano pa, to Sans Rival. But instead of layers of whatever Sans Rival's used, this one's using layers of bread. Sans Rival's layers of dough, thin dough, and yeah.
Yeah, when you do see it, it's like small cake layers with
Yeah.
shortbread.
So
And
it's
then
like if you layered waffles. That's what shortcakes look like. You see it though. You see it.
But a strawberry shortcake is a cake. That's a good question. Oops, I'm saving pages now.
Or was that a marketing strategy? We've hit an R talking about this topic.
Strawberry shortcake cake, one layer strawberry. So everything. I think people generally agree that they are cake.
Yeah. Officially, it's supposed to be a sweet cake or biscuit, is the general description.
So strawberry shortcake is a widely known dessert made with shortcake. Sliced strawberries are mixed with sugar and allowed to sit for an hour or so until the strawberries have surrendered a great deal of their juices, so they're macerated.
Yeah. But if you look at the history, see, they're usually biscuit or sponge cake variety. So there was a time.
They alternated.
Yeah, and if it was more the sponge cake, then it's a cake that's just served in a different way. But if it was more the biscuit, then it was the other one.
Wow, earlier American recipes called for pie crust in rounds or broken up pieces, which is still being enjoyed in the 21st century, particularly in the South. The first strawberry shortcake recipe appeared in the English cookbooks as early as 1588. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So Japanese shortcakes tend to be the muffin, the chiffon sponge,
And pixelated.
whereas American shortcakes tend to be the biscuit.
Okay, but it's like therefore egg pie is a cake. No, we're clear on this, ladies and gentlemen. Egg pie is a tart. Okay, and then is Sancherval a cake? I don't know.
I think Sans Rival is Sans Rival. It has no rivals.
It's a Philippine creation. It defies not Philippine, but at least it's Spanish, I think, in origin. And then it's like it defies Western norms. Yeah.
I
don't know.
I feel like Sans Rival. There, see, it's layers of cashew cake as far as its description is concerned. But it's really more the buttercream, cashews, and yeah.
I'm just trying to see. Well, people generally call it Sancherval cake, so I guess it's cake enough. But it uses that layery thing. Man, it's so tedious to make though. My grandma would make Sancherval from scratch, and oh my god, just watching her do it. Then she'd have all these thin layer things, and then she'd have to do the buttercream and then stack them.
I think ultimately Sans Rival is a sushi.
Why?
The layer.
Onions have layers. What's your point? What's your point?
Okay, I think we are okay there. Andre, I guess Andre will have our last word. Cupcakes were called number cakes because of the recipe. 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour. Oh, that's interesting.
4 eggs, a cup of milk, and a spoonful of soda. Oh,
that's interesting.
Scared where Toby's going. I can hear the wheels in his brain
Because if
turning.
cupcakes are number cakes, then a fraction of a cupcake.
It's what?
Never mind.
It's still a number.
I just know there are imaginary cakes out there. Okay, I think that's it. We have spent an hour talking about this in all its different ways. Yes, I do feel the temptation to try to make cakes. I just don't really know where I'll keep them. And I also know I will not have the patience for them because cakes have to sit. You have to wait for cakes to cool down.
This is your problem.
Yes. Because when you're done with the cake, it's not all decorated and frosted, right? You still have to wait for it to cool down. And then once it's cooled down, that's when you put the stuff on it.
Yes. As we've seen many times on Nailed It, don't put frosting on hot cakes.
I won't have the time or patience for that. And that's why bread is easier.
Because you just eat it.
Because once it's
Therefore,
done, you cut it and eat it.
therefore, you could make muffins.
But muffins are dry and boring. Oh, if there are ice cream cakes, can there be ice cream
No.
muffins?
I'm just gonna say no. No.
How about ice cream pies?
Because it has a crust. Then it's a tart.
They say conclusion.
But he keeps going. Yeah,
That's our show. I guess let's wrap up.
I hope so.
Is there anything else we should bring up?
No.
We won't have a show tomorrow,
Yes.
Wednesday, because we are having a role-playing game. But Thursday, we are tackling...
Oh crap! I can't remember what our Thursday topic is. Once again, I am unprepared. Scramble. What is our
Thursday, we are
Thursday?
attacking our favorite cartoons from the 90s to complete the list that we've been
yes.
going through the last few
To
episodes.
finally finish David's request.
And Friday, we are talking all about digital tabletop gaming, how we do it, what we've learned, the techniques and systems we use. In case you want to know how you can play tabletop games with your friends, whether on Steam, on devices, and so on and so forth, Friday is the episode.
we shall
to check
find
out.
ways together. Mitch says I need to record that no to be part of the theme song. No.
And for Sunday, which is usually our check-in episode,
Or
and
our chill day.
down episode, we will be talking about de-stressing and meditation. Because if you know you're stuck in the quarantine and you can't have cakes, then you might as well meditate.
Why can't you have cake though?
Are you really going to be okay if I suddenly order a whole cake?
It
and it's
hasn't
for me?
stopped you from eating sticko at the table.
Okay, sticko is different.
Ladies and gentlemen, that huge tub of sticko, as someone who has been on keto for over 2 years, I swear to God, it smells so good. It's like when Toby eats Pringles in front of me. They sound delicious. it's a struggle, guys. It's a struggle.
So do you want me to stop?
No, I'm just telling you that this is how it is. If you've been on keto and denying yourself sugar
I
for so
know,
long,
which is
then-
why I try
then
to choose
things-
when I eat
things-
them.
no, you don't.
Oh,
it's,
trust me, I do. I could eat them more often.
it's this parade of things that come to the table, especially in the afternoon. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, sticko is crap.
So, if you have questions or suggestions for future episodes, fill out the Google form at bit.ly Baduy Pride Ideas. Thanks again to Kenny for making us define the difference between cupcakes and muffins, and thanks to Pico for not showing up to talk about cakes. I'm sure you'll
Pico's
watch
super
eventually.
busy, yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean to be shady, but I am. So you can follow us on Twitter though, Altobino Shade, RG Sunico.
You can also check out our blog, baduypride.com, for all the previous episodes and stuff about us.
Feel free to continue the conversation in the comments below and let us know what you think about all these desserts and all of Toby's ideas for permutations on these desserts and what to compare them to. Which analogy works best for you? Mention it down below. And be sure to subscribe for notifications, whether on Facebook or YouTube, so you don't miss our next live stream. What do you want to say? I can feel you want to say something.
If you want to help crowdfund a soft serve ice cream
No!
machine, let me know.
We don't have space.
I'll share it in the hallway for everyone to
Why
get
is
soft
it in
serve.
the hallway?
Ice cream for everyone despite the pandemic. Yes. But once again,
This is Rocky.
and I'm Toby, and this is Baduy Pride.
Is it?
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Good night, everyone.